Hey guys, Ernie here, Paleo Hiker MD. Trying out my GoPro today. Got a attachment for a microphone for my wife for Christmas, so trying it out today for today's video. So it might look a little bit different, but just messing around out here tonight. So I was tagged by EDC Adventures to discuss my 5 C's, the 5 things that I feel, I hope that I would have with me in a survival situation. So stay tuned and we're going to check out what my 5 C's are. Alright guys, so obviously I was hoping to be outside to do this video. It's been a really busy weekend. I've been on call and we are starting the process of moving. So we've had a lot of work trying to get our house ready to sell. So just wasn't able to get out today and actually get outside to make this video. But I wanted to do it anyway because I wanted to get my VR back. So the 5 C's, it's really the 5 things you feel you would want in a survival situation. But I agree with Ethan from the standpoint that the 5 C's are important. So let's start with cutting. Cutting for me would be really simple. I would want something like a Mora. This is a Mora heavy duty. It's got a great Scandinavian grind on it. It holds its edge very easy. It is extremely easy to sharpen in the field. Even if I could find a rock and smooth it down, I could easily sharpen it. It's something that can take a licking and I don't have to worry about messing it up. It's got a really robust case. I think just if you're thinking survival, you want something that you can take care of easily, and I think the Mora is one of the best options. It's also very inexpensive, so it's very available to almost everybody. All right, so number 2 is Combustion. I think definitely a ferro rod is the way to go, preferably a larger ferro rod. I have mine attached to an orange lanyard and a little carabiner here to attach to my belt loop. Definitely something you don't want to lose. We saw Joe Robinette, who most of us probably follow here on YouTube. When he was on History Channels alone, he dropped his ferro rod, and at that point it was game over for him. But a ferro rod really makes a lot of sense. You could carry a lighter, you could carry matches, but those are things that are going to eventually run out. Now, of course, a ferro rod will run out, but you take something like this, and it is really going to take a long time to wear out. So if you're looking for something that you can make consistent hot sparks with, Combustion from a ferro rod is what I would choose in a survival situation. All right, so number 3, the 3rd C is cordage. Now, a lot of people use 550 paracord. I think that's great. I would choose to use bank line. This is number 36 bank line. And the reason I like bank line is it's very versatile. You can unstrand it if you want to and get finer fibers for cordage to extend your cordage out. You can carry hundreds of feet of bank line. It's very light. It's easily carried in your pack. This is a spool. I don't know about how much is left on here, and I honestly don't even remember how much this started with, but a full spool is about $9. I'll put at the bottom here how many feet it is. It's quite a few feet. You're going to be able to carry a lot more bank line, which has a very high tensile strength for the weight, a lot more than you could paracord. It's also a lot less expensive. So when I'm looking at survival items, these are items that a lot of times I may have in my car all the time, and they're things that I don't want to really necessarily spend a lot of money on because they very well may sit there a long time. So that's why I choose bank line as my cordage. I think it's easier to deal with. It catches knots very well, it's inexpensive, and it's very lightweight. All right, so the 4th C is a container. There are a lot of different containers you could use. From my standpoint, it has to be stainless steel. It is very durable. You take something like titanium out into a survival situation very often. It's very lightweight, but it can easily fail if you're not careful with it. I also would want something that I can use as a water container, carry water with, as well as boil up water. As an added benefit, if you could have something that you could put a tight lid on, you could also use it to char material, char cloth, char punky wood, whatever it might be. In my case, I would use this, the Vargo Bot B-O-T. It's a bottle and it's a pot. That's why they call it the bot. I've done a specific review, I think, on this. Very simple. Stainless steel, holds a liter. It has a screw-on lid, so you can carry water. You can also cook with it by putting a lid just like that. It's not a tight seal, but you can, especially for the purposes of charring stuff, there's a little O-ring that you can take off and then you can screw it on, and it'll create a tight enough seal that a little bit of air will get out and you'll be able to char material fairly easily. So when you're looking at something that you want in a survival situation, you want a multitasker. The Vargo bot allows you to carry water, purify water in it by putting it either over a stove or over a direct fire, and it's very lightweight as well. So this is my choice for a container in a survival situation. All right, so lastly, a cover. For me, a cover needs to be something useful from the standpoint of size. I don't want to carry something that's too small or too big. For me, I would carry this. This is my Bushcraft USA 10x7 tarp. These Bushcraft USA tarps are very nice. You can see they're very compact. They have tie-outs at multiple locations. I think on this one at least 4 per side, so on the ends, as well as 2 spaced out on each end. On the 10-foot side, there may be 3, so 3 on one side and 4 tie-outs on the other. They're also not like the grommets. They're actually sewed-in tie-outs, so I think that's really important. They're much more reliable and less likely to fail in the field and in a survival situation. Now, I don't know if it's cheating or not, but I can tell you that every tarp I own is in its own stuff sack and has guy lines in it. I always keep for this, and again, maybe it's cheating, I don't know, but I think in a situation where I was in a survival situation, I would carry what I always carry. This has a nice hank of paracord, which is what I use for the ridgeline of this tarp, and then I use the bank line to tie out the ends. I could easily use the bank line if needed, so if that's cheating, then just omit that, because I certainly would have plenty of bank line to make a ridgeline and then to tie it out. A tarp is so easy because it's so lightweight, but it's also very versatile. You can make all kinds of different shelters depending on what your needs are. If it's really rainy, you can make a more confined shelter. If it's pretty much good weather, not a lot of mosquitoes, etc., you can just kind of cover yourself and give yourself the opportunity to enjoy the weather the best you can, even in a survival situation. So that is what I would use for cover, a nice, waterproof, lightweight tarp. In my case, it's a 10x7 Bushcraft USA tarp. All right, guys, so that is my video response to Ethan over at EDC Adventures. Now, to continue this on, I need to tag 3 other people. So I've decided I'm going to tag Dave at High Carbon Steel Love. Who else? I'm going to tag Lee Ralph. He has his Path to Self-Reliance YouTube channel. It's under Lee Ralph. And third, maybe a little bit out of his comfort zone, but we're gonna tag Rashid over at Smellin' Roses. Now, man, I know you usually go out hiking, but I would expect that when you go hiking, you bring along survival gear to make sure that you get around, or to make sure that you get home whenever, if there's a major catastrophe. So what do you carry, man? What's your 5 things that you carry to make sure you get home even if the weather is a problem? So Dave, Lee, and Rashid, those are my 3 tags. As always, guys, I appreciate you guys following the channel. I got a bunch of videos already made, quite a few in the making. I'm going to do a couple of these challenges myself. I've got some really interesting ones that I'm hoping to do in the next several months. A lot of the challenges that we're tagging people in are, pretty straightforward. I'm thinking about stepping that game up a little bit and tagging some of my YouTube friends with something a little bit more challenging to see if we can do it and to test our limits out in the wilderness. So like, comment, subscribe. As always, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate you guys following the channel. Don't forget about my 750 subscriber giveaway. And so stay tuned. I hope you guys like the GoPro, something different, and we may use it more because it actually seems really easy to use out here in the shed. So thanks for watching.